From bromance to lovers? I'm a 20-year-old guy who has just recently moved to the city. For the first couple of weeks, I was living with a friend, but now I have found an apartment to share. It is nothing too impressive, but the rent is good and it is clean, so I like it very much. I share it with my roommate Chase. I do not have many friends in the city, so Chase and I quickly became friends when I moved in. He and I liked the same movies and had similar hobbies, so we got along just fine. In fact, we grew really close. One day, I had just got home from work and I was making some noodles to eat. Chase was in his room, playing guitar. It was Friday night, but I had nowhere to go. Work kept me busy, so I was unfamiliar with where the latest clubs or spots to hang out were located. I wanted to unwind on that day, so I decided to ask him if we could go out. I finished eating my noodles and made my way to his room. I knocked once and entered. He was playing a song that was very familiar to me. It was Would You Fight for My Love by Jake White. It was a song that had been a favorite of mine for several years. He stopped playing and looked up to me. His bouncy, curly hair fell in his green eyes as he did that. He smiled when he saw that it was me. "Hey Simon, what's up?" he asked. "Nothing much, man. Just wanted to ask if you want to go out tonight. I'm a bit bored and would like nothing more than to get out of this house," I said. He scrunched up his eyebrows as he thought for a moment. "Sure, that's not a bad idea. Let me call James and Kyle. I think they'll want to join us," he said. "Sure, dude. That's cool. I really need a cold one at the moment," I smirked. "Stress from work?" he asked. "Yep. I was the bookkeeper at a local store and it was that time of the year when I had to make sure everything was in place due to the impending auditing. I had just finalized all the books that afternoon and I really needed to chill. I was so damn tired." "Yep, this was the week from hell," I said, sitting down on his bed. "Oh, poor baby." He opened his arms for me. I went in for a hug. He was a very affectionate person, so I could always count on his hugs when I had a bad day. As time went by, we were just getting closer and closer. "Thank you," I said, inhaling his musky scent. He always had the nicest smelling cologne. There. Next week will be much better," he said reassuringly. "Thanks, Bunny," I said. Bunny was my nickname for him. His one for me was Cupcake. He named me that because I am obsessed with cupcakes. It was a bit funny, I know, but what could I say? He brought out the goofy part of me. I went to go and take a shower since it was scorching hot outside and I felt as if I would melt into a puddle right then. After the shower, I finally felt as if I was not trapped in the seventh circle of hell. I wrapped my towel around my waist and made my way to my room. As I turned the corner, I bumped into someone. I tried to break my fall, but in doing so, my towel fell to the floor instead. Chase looked at me with startled eyes. I was standing there, naked in front of him, and he was looking at me. I suddenly felt nervous as his gaze traveled down my body. I blushed and leaned down to pick up my towel. "Oops, sorry I was not looking where I was going," he said bashfully. "Nah, it's okay. I'm also at fault." I smiled sheepishly. We both laughed and carried on where we were going. I felt tingling in all that spots that he had looked at. This was new. I thought I was just embarrassed because my towel had fallen. I opened my door and slammed it behind me. I then went to my closet to look for something to wear. Since it was a hot day, I decided to wear my white shorts, my Vans, and my white shirt. I quickly brushed my hair. I had gone for a haircut last week, so it did not take me long to brush it. As I was putting away my comb, my phone pinged with a notification. I went to open it and saw that it was a message from Holly, a girl I had been texting. She worked at the coffee shop opposite my workplace, and I had met her when I had gone to get coffee. She was really pretty with the classic blonde hair and blue eyes. I had been texting her for a week now. I was thinking of asking her out next week so that we could hang out and see if there was any chemistry there. Holly: "Hey you." Me: "Hey ya." Holly: "Guess who is having cupcakes?" Me: Not fair. Why do you tempt me so much? Holly. Cause you like it when I tease you. I sent her a laughing emoji and put my phone in my pocket. Just then, there was a knock on the door. I went to open it and saw two guys with red hair who looked the same. I figured that they were twins. Hey dude, you must be Simon. I'm James and this is my brother Kyle, one of them said, gesturing to the other guy. Hey guys, I said, giving them hugs. They came in and I went to call Chase. I knocked on his door but I got no answer. I called his name and a response came from the direction of the bathroom. I figured that he was taking a shower. So he's taking a shower. Can I get you anything while you wait? I asked. Nah, we're good for now. Our real thirst is for something strong. The one I assumed was James said. When you looked closer, you could see a few differences between the two of them. James was taller and more buff than his brother. Kyle had a scar under his left eye. At first glance, you would think that they were exactly alike. So, how do you know Chase? I asked. He's my ex, Kyle said. I raised an eyebrow. I knew that Chase was gay. He had told me that the very day I moved in. He had wanted to be transparent and to make sure that I was not going to have a problem with his sexuality. Finding out that about him had not affected how I saw him in the slightest. He was still the cool dude who loved guitars for me. What I was surprised about was that he was friends with his ex. That sort of thing was rare. I was civil with most of my exes and I could not stand the rest. It surprised me that he would actually hang out with his ex. Yes, I know, you're surprised. How could he land a bombshell like me? It was donkey years ago and we were much better as friends, he said. Oh, cool then, I grinned. How long have you been in the city? James asked. 6 months. It took a bit of getting used to, but I really like it so far, I said. Chase mentioned that you had not experienced the nightlife here. We're going to baptize you tonight. Kyle grinned mischievously. I felt the thrill as I thought of all the possibilities. The night was young. Where would we be by the end of it? Not knowing thrilled me to no end. Yes, you heard right. You will be drenched in liquor, Simon's deep voice said. I turned to look at him and saw that he was dressed in all white, just like me. His olive skin looked gorgeous paired with the white. He winked at me and I grinned at him. Well, let us commence then. I laughed. Everyone joined me in the laughter and we were off. We started at a modest pub. There were a few people who had clearly just got off work and were drinking away their sorrow. Yes, that was what we had come here to do tonight. What can I get you, gents? The barman asked. Shots, please, Chase said. Coming right up. We sat on the stools and waited for him to make our drinks. There you are, he said, putting down 4 shots in front of us. We each took our shots and downed them. I savored the feeling of liquor burning as it traveled down my throat. This was the perfect start to the night. My gaze met Chase's, and we did not break eye contact. We just stared at each other. He had this unreadable expression on his face that confused me. Lately, I would catch him looking at me out of the blue. It was very strange yet enticing. It was very strange, the things that were going on with him. We were very touchy with each other, holding hands, cuddling, etc. But I penned it down to a close friendship. But I knew deep down there was something more brewing. I just did not know what it was. We went from bars to clubs, chasing down the night. We drank everything that was offered, talking and having fun like the night would never end. I wished that it would not end. We danced till our legs felt like they were made of stones. Those guys could party hard. I had never had such wild friends before, but I loved it. We were so drunk to the point of singing when the Uber dropped us back home. I unlocked the door and Chase and I got in. We waved goodbye to the twins and closed the door behind us. I felt the ground swaying when we entered. Hey, I think I need to sit down, I giggled. Sitting on the couch, it felt like the comfiest piece of heaven. He sat down beside me and put his head on my chest. For a while, we sat like that, comfortable with each other. You are the comfiest pillow ever, Cupcake, he said. His voice vibrated in my chest, sending tingles right down to my toes. Thanks, Bunny, I said, smiling. I like you, he said. And I like you. I caressed his curly hair. No, I did not hear the rest of the sentence because I fell asleep. The next morning, we were both nursing a hangover from hell. We spent the whole day in our respective rooms, sleeping. It felt terrible. I swore that I would never drink again, but that was only until I was feeling much better. The next days were a bit awkward between us. I did not know why he was avoiding me. Whenever I talked to him, he would give short replies and scurry off. It was a bit strange because he was not a shy person at all. He was confident, loud, and proud. I decided that I was going to confront him. I missed him. I missed talking to him and getting up to no good with him. He was my best friend. No, I was lying to myself. There was something more that I could not put my finger on. I was going to get to the bottom of it no matter what. So then, one day when I got home from work, I went straight to his room. I knocked once, but he did not answer. I had raised my hand to knock again, but at that moment, he opened the door. His hair was messy and his eyes unfocused. His skin was deathly pale as well. It looked as if he was ill. "Bunny, are you okay? You look very pale," I said, putting my hand on his forehead. He flinched back and took a step back from me. "Hey, what's wrong?" I asked him. "Nothing. Did you want something?" He could barely look me in the eyes. "Yes, I want to talk to you about something," I said. "Okay, give me 2 minutes. I will come to the living room," he said. I nodded and left him standing there. I sat on the couch, impatiently tapping my feet. I was very nervous for some strange reason. I hoped that I had not done something to upset him. He came out a few minutes later, with his hair looking less messy and with a different t-shirt on. He sat down on the other edge, as far away from me as possible. "So, I wanted to know, why are you acting so distant towards me? Is everything okay?" I cut straight to the chase. "Yes, everything's fine," he said in a dismissive voice. "No, it is not. Did I do something to offend you?" I asked. He turned to look at me. It was then that I noticed that he had circles under his eyes. This made me suspect that he was having trouble sleeping. "No, of course not, Cupcake." His eyes were haunting, filled with pain. "Then why are you so cold towards me?" I asked. "I cannot tell you." His reply was short. "Tell me," I said. "No," he replied. "Yes," I said. "I love you," he suddenly burst out. Tears started falling down his cheeks. I was flabbergasted. I was speechless. I just looked at him as his shoulders shook and tears fell down his cheeks. His revelation awoke something with me, something that I thought did not exist. My mind went blank and all I could hear was my heart. "You love me," I said silently. He just kept on crying. "I like you as more than a friend. I am falling for you too," I said. As soon as I said those words, something within me loosened. I did not know when, but I had fallen for him. He stopped crying and looked at me with something like joy in his eyes. He hugged me until I could not breathe. I melted into it. It was perfect. "I'm still trying to figure out my feelings, but I want to do that with you," I said. "I am willing to be patient," he said. "I'm afraid of starting this relationship. I'm also afraid of how my parents will react to this," I said. "I get it. I will be there with you every step of the way." So then, we started dating. We took everything slow. We focused on getting to know each other and figuring out everything. We were not exclusive, as I was afraid about how people would treat me, but he was patient with me. A few months later, I was fuming, sad, scared, disappointed, and every other emotion I could feel under the sun. I could not believe that the person I cared about the most was giving me an ultimatum. He was doubting my feelings for him when I jumped through hoops for him. I knew that this would end in tears. I would pay dearly for who I loved. I cannot believe that he posted a picture of us on Facebook and tagged me. Now everyone knew that I was gay. He said that he could not understand why I was mad, because we loved each other. He had promised to be patient with me. Now it was as if I was holding him back. I was so sorry that I could not be the perfect boyfriend for him, but I was done with this. I was not ready to have to explain myself to friends and family members about who I was. My parents were conservative. They would never accept a person like me. I could already see the disappointed look in my father's eyes. I did not know what I was thinking, trying to be my true self. Sooner or later, my house of cards was bound to come tumbling down and everyone would know. I should have just ignored how I felt or told him that I did not feel the same way, but I had to go chasing happily ever afters. Now I had to leave against my will. Either this or my family was going to disown me. "Did you ever love me?" he said, his voice cutting me like dagger. He looked like his whole world had just exploded. I was responsible. "I love you more than I can even begin to fathom, but I cannot be the one for you. You deserve a person who can proudly hold your hand in front of people, someone who can shout your name from the highest tower. I want to be that person, but I cannot," I said, turning to walk out the door of our apartment. "If you walk away now, you're taking my heart with you," he said. "And I will leave mine with you, my dear bunny." I gave him a peck on the lips and walked away without turning around again. His sobs accompanied me down the stairs as I walked away. I was going to have to deal with this mess that I had created and convince my parents that I was not gay, or I would lose them. It felt like a walk to the guillotines, but a person walking to the guillotines would be much happier than me in those moments. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.